thank you for tuning into another episode of Shoot the Ish, and you already know what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Now, I'm going to just start by saying one thing. Like, one of the things that I took away from watching this series was that I'm never drinking beer.
Oh, my God.
I can't drink beer. I did not know in the 80s and the 90s beer was that like damn. It's like beer must have been the hardest thing to get because I swear to God, like all he was saying was like, "Hey, you look sweaty. You want to come to my house for some beer?" Sure. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? My name is Bob. You want to come over my house, Bob, for some beer? Sure. Hey, looks like you fell. You look like you need a Band-Aid. You want to come to my house and get a Band-Aid and get some beer? Sure. Why not? Fuck that. Beer must have been the shit. And that's why I just drink my hard liquor. And I just realized one thing. This goes to a warning to anybody. I swear to God, don't go over nobody's house and they make you a drink. Now, I can probably guarantee you everybody going to be looking at drinks totally different after watching this series because I damn sure be like, nah, I'm good, bruh. For one, I ain't going over nobody's house, and if it's a friend, I'm going to still look at my friend funny if he trying to give me a drink, especially if he asks me to drink that shit more than 3 times. Like, bruh, I'm a drink. You know what? I ain't drinking shit. Nah, he asked me too many times to drink that. Or she asked me too many times to drink that shit. But to be honest with you, this was probably one of those. They said this show actually did better than Squid Games after the first week. So obviously it's been doing something. It's been moving numbers. And one of the things that I liked about it was by the creator and the writer of one of my favorite shows, American Horror Story, Ryan Murphy. So if you know, you know. But if you realize like the way the show was actually set up, you'll see like, oh, I get it. I see that like that picture, the way the setup and how everything was set up. And I'll say Evans Peters, which is the main actor that played Jeffrey Dahmer, he did a hell of a role, which if you watch American Horror Story, he was in all those as well. So I can probably guarantee you they're gonna do another a series about another serial killer. I wouldn't mind them doing the BTK killer. I wouldn't mind seeing more about that. I mean, most of us are fascinated with a lot of these serial killers. I mean, look, this is probably this would be the 7th movie they did on Jeffrey Dahmer. But I'll just say right now you'll see all the memes, all the video clips of what they're doing with Jeffrey Dahmer, and the clips, everybody reenacting it. But to be honest with you, it's not funny. It's just the fact that how everybody was just doing the clips. But it's actually a sad story, and I think probably one of the saddest stories on there was probably the story about Tony. That was the deaf guy. And what made it more sad than anything is the fact that you could kind of relate that to a lot of, like, even though he was deaf and his situation was more or less like he really got caught up because, he felt like he couldn't get love and everything based on the fact that he was deaf. So he kind of, in a way, settled for the first nice person that gave him time, that made him feel like he was accepted for who he was. And I think about that and I say, like, it's a lot of people even today that we feel like that with certain situations. And I don't want to go off on a tangent to talk about relationships and how we feel, but I think that was actually a sad story when you really think about, like, how he actually got caught up in that situation. And, the way they filmed it, you thought he finally got away. Then you realize, like, damn, he came back for the keys. Shit. But a lot of things that, and we got to talk about how Niecy Nash did her thing on this, how she did her thing on this show, because to be honest, she killed it too. But the interesting thing about her, I think she played the character of Glenda Cleveland. Now, what it showed during the show was that Glenda Cleveland was living right next door to him and smelling all the bodies. No, she actually lived across the street. So that was one of the things that they differentiate. Different. Well, don't let me. That was one of the things that wasn't true about when you watched the episode. The neighbor who actually lived, it wasn't a neighbor that lived like right on the side, but it was a neighbor that lived across the hall from him, and that neighbor was Pamela Bass. Now Pamela Bass, right? Now the interesting thing about that was he used to give her sandwiches. So you remember the show? If you watched it, he brought a sandwich and he was like, I ain't eating that after I smell up. Obviously, that was all made up. But in fact, he was actually giving sandwiches to the neighbor. And when I seen a documentary that he would always give her sandwiches. So she probably was fucking up the sandwiches. And damn, that wasn't a good look. Ugh. I got to do another.
Oh, my God.
Because that sandwich was definitely not the sandwich I would want to eat. Not at all. But one of the things, what you'll realize is that what they did on this series was different. And I was reading up about it because I knew I was going to do a show about it. They said what they did, they wanted to not film it from his point of view or from his story. They wanted to actually film it as if we were viewing him and seeing the people affected by him. So it was not from his point of view at all. And I think that's what made this episode good. I mean, this series good, because you got to see the people who were affected, even the parents, even the neighbors, even the victims' families, and how it affected them. So I think that's what that is, to me, what was one of the great things about this show. And there were little things that when this show actually came out, I shouldn't be mixing P Valley with this, but it was the actor that from P Valley who said, you know, why is it that this guy's getting praised for being by playing a gay role and he's straight, and I'm really criticized by it? And I'll just say, I don't like to really do the black-white sometimes, but that wasn't a fair comparison, because the reality is his character, the Jeffrey Dahmer character, wasn't sexualized. And I think that was the difference between the guy from P Valley. It becomes more like sexualized. It's like it's more about the scenes that he's doing and all this, compared to what you watched with the Jeffrey Dahmer story, where you saw that it was more about the person himself. Why it was almost like him being gay was almost like another part of it. It wasn't really a part. I mean, really wasn't a part of what you focused on. You focused more about the people who he interacted with. And that, to me, was what I felt, or what dragged me all into the show. Now, were there funny parts? Yes. No, look, I had to go get it. Now, I don't have a Jeffrey Dahmer knife, but I got a knife. But when he was like, "No, sit down, watch the movie with me. No, sit down." So you sitting there, watch the movie. Jeffrey Dahmer's like this. No, watch the movie. He was fascinated with what come to find out when I was reading about it. He was fascinated with being a Sith Lord from like Star Wars and The Exorcist. And if you looked at the cover, they said that was true. He would actually put in yellow contacts because he thought he was a Sith Lord, or he related more to being a Sith Lord, for all our Star Wars fans out there. So that was another interesting thing. Look, I had to do a little bit of homework, and I'll be honest with you. I actually did a video already. I did a video, and then I said, you know what? I can't. Look, you guys are my audience. You guys watch me, and at the same time, it's not fair for me to come through half-ass without knowing and doing my due diligence with the behind-the-scenes stuff. So, in fact, I had to scrap that one, come back, do another one, and then I'll put this one out. So I want to do just a little bit more background and get everybody, find out some of the things that were true, some of the things that weren't true. Now, also, one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, even towards the end of the movie, it was interesting that you saw the guy who killed Jeffrey Dahmer. He he was getting his life right with God, I guess you could say, and he felt when he found out what Jeffrey Dahmer did, he felt like he was God's avenging angel to kill Jeffrey Dahmer, right? And then at the same time, Jeffrey Dahmer is getting his life right with God and he was getting his life right with God to be forgiven. But it was so interesting that you see two different spectrums. One is going through who was crazy himself, but he had his thing and how he viewed God. The other crazy guy had his thing, but how he was going to have his relationship with God. And those two people collided, and basically the end result happened. So that was one of the things that I don't know if you guys really just when you watch it, how deep that concept was. And also, it was true that Wayne Gacy, it was like he was another serial killer. I think he killed around 36 people, boys. Again, another guy infatuated with boys. If you know anything about him, he killed a lot of people in Chicago. He was a business owner, a church, one with the church, and he was just had a great family, looked like a good family, and he was a serial killer. But on the same day that Jeffrey Dahmer was getting baptized, that was true. Wayne Gacy was getting executed on that same day. So I was like, wow, some of the things on there was true. It didn't really steer away from a lot of things. And they said also the guy who, wait, hold on, let me take a drink right. They said the guy who was in the that came down with the grandmother, nah, he didn't survive, and the grandmother, there was no such thing. So that was something that was added to the story as well. And also, the guy that he met that was in the apartment building with him, that Jeffrey Dahmer never admitted to killing that guy. They said they actually found him in the apartment strangled to death. And so they did find him, but Jeffrey Dahmer never admitted to actually killing him. Which, if you watch the show, she asked him in the apartment, like, and what's the name? He's like, I don't know. So even on the show, he kind of admit that, no, I don't know what happened to him. So he kind of admitted most of us probably felt like, oh, he killed him too. Oh, yeah, I forgot to let you guys, I know you guys see it. I want to put a little different aesthetic, put my little plant up here, make me feel like, just make it look a little decent, I guess, But to me, I thought the show was actually good. It is definitely a watch, and you got to know they're gonna do another one because this got so much publicity, got so many views. Because obviously, like they said, they can scan Nielsen scan or whatever, where they can see how many people have actually tuned in and watched this one. So reality, like I said, if it beat out Squid Games, it's definitely doing its thing, and we know we're gonna see another one. But again, I wish they do. I wish they have Ryan Murphy do this again. And like I said, most of us, if for those who watch American Horror Story, you know why this guy was just a perfect person to produce this show, and get that actor. Evan Peters to actually be the main person to do Jeffrey Dahmer. And like I said, they had 7 other shows, but they went to with this one, they went to a different dynamic. And what I think would be good for a lot of people to do is definitely watch a lot of the documentaries. And by watching all the documentaries, watching him, you see how everything pieces up, and you see where they took probably two people and put them all in the embodied one. But I would also say that one of the things that you can see that still reflects to today and what happens today is that, people said, you know, was it that he was going after black people? I don't really think Jeffrey Dahmer was racist. I think he thought meat was meat at the end of the day. And as far as him living in a black community, he didn't come from a wealthy family. So, and he wasn't a smart person. So in reality, he moved where it was actually affordable for him. Now, we could say that there was race things because, again, there's nowhere in hell a white man, a black man could actually be in a white neighborhood chopping up and killing people, especially if people were calling the cops on them. So what I would say is that has more to do with the judicial system as a whole. And I think we still face stuff like that today. So, reality, I would say that the saddest part in the show, though, and what was interesting that they let us hear the character of the character that Niecy Nash played. They actually let you hear the 911 call. Now, what was different in the movie, Niecy Nash wasn't out there. Which the person's name was Glenda Cleveland. She wasn't actually out there. That was with her daughter and her niece. She was actually home. It was her daughter and niece that was saying that that found the boy with him, and they're talking to the cops and stuff like that. They basically tell her mother, that's Niecy Nash on the phone, asking like, "What's going on with the boy? You sure?" The boy, my daughter and them say they see this dude. He's not an adult. Because they seen him playing in the dirt, and like he's not of age. So it was interesting that you got to hear that. You got to hear it, and I think that's what made it even more chilling. Anything, because I said, what's more horror? What's more horrifying than actually watching something that's based on something that really actually happened? And so this was basically a great. Not to say great, but it was actually a suspenseful show to watch, and to really realize that, people are out here that actually do these type of crazy things, and to realize that where a lot of stuff stemmed from. And I think that's what most people are fascinated about the Jeffrey Dahmer situation. I think it was not the fact that he was killing people, it's the fact that he ate. And I think, not to keep it 100, I think people are more fascinated with cannibalism. That's why he gets more. He's probably been talked about more than a lot of the other serial killers. Not about the number. It was about what he did after he killed people. So I like also how they talked about, if you watch the show, you'll see that they even brought up another serial killer, I think from the 1920s or 1940s or so. Let me get the name. This dude was they did a lot of stuff based on this character or this serial killer. They got a lot of horror shows, a lot of horror characters based on this guy. Dang. See, I thought I did my homework. I know it was Geen. Serial killer. Let me see. I can get it. Let me see. No. Damn, they got a lot. You look up this. This is crazy. Damn. Let me see. Nope, I can't get it. I'm trying to. Damn. Dr. Teeth, we were talking about somebody in London. No, I can't. Damn. I should have did my homework, but they actually brought up about the two serial killers, and that was interesting. They was talking about it's kind of like they brought if you were fascinated with it, you would be able to look some of that stuff up. But let me just start by saying, it was definitely a good watch. I would definitely recommend it for most of people who didn't watch it. Is definitely a good watch. It is actually worth what everybody is saying about it. So it's definitely something to check out. And for those who continue to keep watching the show, I definitely appreciate it. As you see, I've been on my grind. I've been hitting you guys. I don't even wait. Whatever I feel like running down, do a video. I'm coming down doing a video. Keep bringing out the content, and like I always say, definitely guys, continue to share, like, and subscribe. Definitely leave comments. I'm seeing that a lot of you guys are leaving comments now, and I definitely appreciate it. And I definitely always try to get back to you guys. But again, I definitely appreciate the love. And like I said, I'll keep continuing to bring content. Hopefully, I do plan to have more guests and have the guests bring in specific topics that I can actually try to get you guys. If you like, if there's any topics you guys want me to do, definitely leave a comment, and I'll definitely see if I can get somebody to come through about the topic. Or even, look, I'll do my research about the topic, and we can definitely talk about it. So, again, I'd like to thank you again for tuning in, and good night.